winning time in Dubai, set by another Ethiopian, Bute Gemechu, who ran 2:04.51. Well, Barega out a long way clear of the second and third place. Clear of the second and third place athletes on the right of our screen, that chasing group, Matthew Semperu in the white and red vest, and he's being followed by Gosa Ambalu, the Ethiopian, in third place.
As you said, we could be heading towards the fastest marathon in the world so far in the 2025 calendar year. There's the chasers behind. They were a minute and 20 seconds behind. It's now almost 2 minutes at 35 kilometers. Gosa Mbelo Shala and Matthew Samparu, and there you go, 1 minute and 57 seconds is the confirmation between the Ethiopian and Kenyan athletes in second and third. So they're locked in their own private battle, and both of them at the moment, Shala's best 2 hours 7:35, and Samparu's best 2 hours 9 minutes and 54 seconds. So both of them way inside that, with well, 7 kilometers of hard running, and it will be hard running to come, because you can see the pain is etched on their faces. And but the fact they're in a battle together, hopefully this is going to help them, that they're not solo on their own. But again, whether any of the chasers from behind that didn't go with this early pace, whether they can close the gap, getting confirmation that that main group, that big group, are 1 minute and 13 seconds behind them. There's Barega. At the moment, if he was to maintain his pace, he's going to be right around the 2 hours and 3 minute mark. So that split we had at 35 kilometers was 27 seconds inside course record pace. So remember, the course record 2 hours 3 minutes and 27 seconds. And at the moment, this is probably the first sign of a little bit of fatigue. Still looks good, but if he is going to get inside 2 hours and 3, he needs to maintain this 2 minutes and 55 seconds per kilometer, and he needs around about a 14:35 5k split from 35 to 40 kilometers.
I think you're right, James. I think he's just lost a little bit of the bounce that he had 5 or 10 minutes ago. I mean, he's still looking very, very, very good, very relaxed. But I just wonder if he's starting to feel that fatigue. His pace dropped very slightly from that very fast 5k between 25 and 30k, 14:18. It dropped to 14:38 for the 5k, up to 35k. So Barega having to work incredibly hard to keep that pace going. I'm sure he has got an eye on the course record, hoping to get very close to that 2:02, 2:03 finishing time, but having to work very, very hard.
What is amazing, the people on the side of the road on their bikes having to work hard to keep up with Solomon Barega as he goes through 37 kilometers. And if that is right, and I thought the last kilometer might have been outside 3 minutes. I think these have been a couple of 3 minute plus kilometers, and if that is the case, then we could be slipping towards maybe outside course record pace. But it's deceptive because he does always look so smooth, relaxed, but I just think there's a slight loss of power there.
Yeah.
And yeah, this might be starting to get tough. The marathon is unforgiving, Richard, isn't it? It's you know, you can go from 1 minute feeling really good to the next minute, and remember, he did miss that drink station right back around about the was it around the 45 kilometer spot, and sometimes that early energy can be a payback later on in the race. But I think maybe the chasers behind, that they were fatiguing as well, so he might be all right. Now the race is happening, isn't it, in the elite women? There's a split again.
Yeah, it's the 3 Ethiopian-born athletes, and Chinalu Desi in the blue vest, who is at the front of that group of 3. She's being followed by Tigis Gazahain and Abdul Kadir Desi, and just about 50 meters down the road, the Spanish athlete Kota Bolide is trying to hang on. Remember, she is operating at a pace much faster than she's ever run before. Her best time coming into today's marathon, 2:25.35, set here 7 years ago. And although she's dropping off, she's desperately trying to hang on to that pace, which will see her coming home in a new personal best time. So Barega running alongside the old city walls down the Calle Leon, and in a few moments he's going to take that left turn under the city gate, and that will be along some of the narrow streets that will bring him through to 40 kilometres and the cathedral. So at this left turn he'll have about 4 kilometres to run. This is the part of the city called La Macarena, which is heavily visited by international tourists. Lots of nice cafes and bars.
Yeah, a load of markets and yeah, a load of different vintage clothes and lovely stores there. You can be lost for hours in that area shopping, so definitely one to put on the bucket list if you are coming over here for the Zurich Seville Marathon. And there are loads of sites and places to venture off, and great place to eat as well. Remember, the home of tapas. So we had some lovely tapas last night. So there's some brilliant little places off the beaten strip as well. So here is Solomon Barega. He will just be focused on this last 10, 12, 13 minutes of running. There's definitely a pop gone in his legs. He was flying off the Seville concrete around about 15 minutes ago. Now it's a little bit more laboured. There's definitely fatigue in those legs. So we're looking, if we're going to maintain course record pace, 1 hour, 57 minutes and 3 seconds was the 40-kilometre split from Goleta 12 months ago. But if those splits have been correct, or those indications from those kilometre markers, I think he might have just slipped outside that. Back to the elite women's race.
Big change in the women's race, and it's the two debutants, Anchinalu Desi and Tigist Gezahain, who have broken clear as they head down towards the Plaza de España. Fascinating battle between these two.
Well, it is, given that they've not finished a marathon between them. Both debuts, 67 minutes for Desi, and the Gezahain's best, 66 minutes. But that won't mean too much now. It's about the marathon preparation. But I tell you what, if it comes down to a sprint, Richard, is your money on the Paralympic 1500-metre champion? I tell you what, mine is.
I think mine is, because she won her first 1500-metre title in Tokyo 4 years ago, and then last summer in Paris came back and won again. So I think she's run 4:22 for 1500 metres, and I would certainly put my money on her if it came down to a sprint. Here they are, going round the Plaza de España, 34 kilometres of running behind them.
And what a story this would be as well, you know, for a Paralympic athlete to be out there right now, toe to toe, shoulder to shoulder. And she does look absolutely fantastic at the moment. So there's still some hard kilometres, some tough running to come. So there's still some hard kilometres, some tough running to come. And for both of them, it's going to be the unknown. But whatever happens, you know, so far, this is a really impressive debut by both these athletes. But what a story for the para world right now.
Yeah. And Anchinalu Desi, only 22 years of age. Tigist Gezahain, also 24 years of age. So two young athletes moving up to the marathon here in Seville for the first time. Great overhead shots by the drone camera as the first two female athletes leave the Plaza de España, head back out onto the wide streets. Here's Barega gone through 39 kilometres.
Barega getting loads of cheers, loads of support.
Well, James, I think your suspicion has been proved to be the case, because those last 3 kilometres have been well outside 12 minutes. And he's really dropped off that very fast pace that he was running between 25 and 35 kilometres.
And it happened so dramatically. It's almost the loop round the square is almost entered it as if he was powering his way to victory. And then since exiting it, has just slowed, but that gap is or was 2 minutes. And then there was a big gap of around about another minute back to the main group. Remember, they were still running at 2:06 pace, at that World Championship pace. So if the wheels were to really fall off Barega, then it is possible someone could come through from what was once the 3rd group out on the road, even the 4th group. But they did have safety in numbers, and they were so consistent. But at the moment, Barega looks like he might have rallied a bit, and maybe that was just a few kilometres of hard running that he's maybe worked his way through. And with almost every stride, he knows he's getting closer and closer to the finish. And look at that, that's a